hacked, killed, cyberbullied, because they brought out some information and exposed it on their socials.
So you actually think that physical security is not enough in the world of today?
Technology plays a very significant role. Your emotional security, we're talking about spiritual security. If you have a gun, you can protect yourself. A professional definitely needs to have a very good mental state of mind. So there's always uncertainty for a leader. The higher your security level, the higher your peace of mind. The best way to ensure financial security as a very young person that's just starting his career is by...
Get ready for your masterclass in leadership, security, and peace of mind. On this podcast, we're bringing you the brilliant strategy and unmatched experience of no other than Ifeanyi Aneke, the dynamic MD and CEO of Light on Heights Holdings Limited, a trailblazer in tech, business, and innovation. This is your chance to learn from a master strategist on how to lead with confidence, avoid costly mistakes, and protect not just your career, but also your peace of mind. Young professionals, this one is for you. Stay locked in, you do not want to miss this.
Hello everyone. Hello Stone Circle fam. Welcome back to another sizzling episode of Stone Circle podcast. Let's talk safety and preach peace of mind. My name is Jennifer and I'm once again your host for this episode of Stone Circle podcast. So guys, last week you all joined us on the third episode of Stone Circle podcast where we discussed the act of kindness and how it can lead you into danger and how to be safe from it. And if you have not seen that podcast, guys, please go back and watch it. And for you to be here once again means that everything we've been doing for your viewing pleasure has been like amazing. Thank you very much for joining us once again. All right, so for today, we are going to be talking about an interesting topic. And with us here in the studio, we have an amazing personality that will be giving us his insight. He's actually a CEO of Light on Heights Holdings. And today he's joining us to share his 1 or 2 cents on the topic for today. So guys, let's give it up for Mr. Ifeanyi Aneke, and we'll be... Okay, just introduce yourself to our audience.
Thank you, Jennifer. My name is Ifeanyi Aneke. I'm the Chief Executive Officer for Light on Heights Holdings Limited. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's who I am.
Wow, interesting. Thank you very much, Mr. Ifeanyi, for joining us. We are looking forward to hearing like amazing things from you today. Thank you very much. So guys, you've heard it from his mouth. He's joining us today to, share his insights on our topic. Speaking of our topic, for today, we are going to be discussing leadership and security, how young leaders, how young professionals can play their roles and remain safe. That is our topic for today. And mind you, remember that our watchword is peace of mind. So remember that everything we are talking about on Stone Circle podcast is all about security and your peace of mind. All right, let's get into it. Sir, can you share a little bit about yourself, your journey for our audience? Let's just get to know you a little.
Thank you. I think my journey has been an interesting one. I think they say when you look at it in retrospect, it looks like everything was all put together. But I studied by study. I studied civil engineering in school. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka. I was supposed to be. It was supposed to be medicine.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
My dad had this belief that it's either medicine
professional
or nothing else. Exactly. Every other thing is outside medicine is not a course. Mm-hmm. That was his belief. So I was supposed to study medicine. I did medicine. I tried to get that in JAMB. I wasn't smart enough. I didn't get in. So it's the second time I tried. I went for pre-science immediately after. Tried it in a pre-science in Unizik. And also didn't get in. The competition was crazy. So my second choice was civil engineering, so I just went for the second choice instead. And so I found myself studying civil engineering. And I taught myself to like it. I felt it was like really great. I put in everything I could into trying to be a civil engineer, learn about bending moments and all of those details, concrete biscuits. Yeah, it was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But then, the change started happening when I went for the CWES industrial training. I don't know if you've been to Enugu. There's this Malum Nigeria Limited tunnel that they did there. I was part of the engineers that built that tunnel.
Wow.
While I was doing CWES. And so that CWES thing, I made some money from there, and then came back and bought a computer. And that changed my life.
What year was that? Sorry.
That's a long time ago. I might need to I can try and trace it back.
Because you mentioned the computer. I'm trying to
It was a desktop computer. It was actually a cousin of mine that helped me build it. I couldn't buy like a full computer, but he has knowledge about coupling computers together. So we went to the market, and then he bought the parts and pieced them together into a computer.
Wow.
That was my first computer. It was great, and that's how I got a computer, and took it to school and fell in love with it. Like instantly. It was just such an amazing device. I was amazed at what I could do with it. And then he gave me some software that was supposed to teach me how to use the computer. One of them was Mevin Beacon. There was another one that was teaching me Microsoft Word and others. And I was so amazed at how easy it was for the computer to teach me how to use it. And that I just felt like there's so much that this device could do. And if I could figure out how to get it to do those things, then I will be unlocking a lot of impact and so much value from there. So I started learning how can I build something like Mevin Beacon or any of those software. I started asking questions. There was very few people that have knowledge about things like that at the time. I went to people that were reading computer science in school then. None of them knew how to go about building software. So it was kind of a tough journey. It's not like now that you can go on YouTube and you can search. There was no YouTube at the time. There was no YouTube. This was like 2002, 2003.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
A long time ago.
I think I'm telling you my age now indirectly. I'm showing how old I am. Yeah. So that was pretty much it. I started learning programming on my own, self-taught. And at some point I realized that I have to build my life around this device, because it was just something that I decided I was going to practice civil engineering anymore. Yeah. So I left there, started doing a lot of learning, did some certifications, and then moved on from there to I started working with a couple of companies, Global Simtech, Legwork. We were trying to compete with Facebook at the time.
Wow.
Yeah, so I've moved around. I think the last place I worked is Microsoft, where I was working as a cloud solution architect, covering Middle East and Africa. And so within that 4 years working with Microsoft, I just felt like there's a need for me to kind of go back to some of the ideas that I had back in the days when I started trying to move into software engineering. And so COVID hit, and I had some investment that I had in money market that were crashing. And so at that point I was looking at what can I do to be able to keep this investment going, because the interest rate was much lower than the inflation at the time. So the money was just practically losing value on the shelf. So if someone suggested real estate at the time and said, hey, why don't you invest in real estate? And so I had to start reading about it to understand how I can do investment in real estate. A few weeks down the line, I've read like 8 books on it and decided to start investing. And the RPP was born from there. And then while I was trying to get RPP working, realized some of the issues that was there in RPP, in terms of real estate investing. and that bettered using those technology to solve those problems. So that's how Limestone came about. And then from there to Cloud Clinic, and today Light on Height Holdings Limited.
Wow. Yeah. Interesting. I don't know if you guys are clapping with me right now, but I just felt like, doing that. A standing ovation, in fact. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You're so kind.
That's so lovely, guys. Wow. From being forced to become a medical doctor to civil engineering to buying a computer or coupling up a computer to, Microsoft. That's actually like a very big dream, and I am so happy that you got to like actualize them.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, so let's go into our topic for today. You've shared like very amazing bits about yourself. Like you said, you have like expertise in technology. So what do you think technology plays like a role in security? What do you think are the roles that technology plays for security? Because today we are talking about young professionals, young leaders, and their safety. So I would like to start from, because you said you are into tech, what are the roles that technology can actually play when it comes to security?
Technology plays a very significant role. There's a lot of so many things. So today when we say security, it's not. We're not talking about just
armed men.
Yeah, that people sometimes think security is just about physical security. So when you talk security, people remember Sambisa Forest or someone mugging their house. Yes. No, security has gone way beyond that. We're talking about your emotional security. We're talking about spiritual security. We're talking about security of your financial data, right? In fact, the modern man today is plagued by more security incidents that are beyond physical. There are more security issues that will face more than physical security. Yeah, it's much more than that. Maybe back in the days when we were hunter gatherers and living in caves, we were afraid of the lion coming to eat us, and that was the major problem. Today, it's much more than that. What kills people more, or what causes that insecurity more today, is actually more on, hey, did I get scammed, right? Did my bank account get hacked? Yes. Did I lose my data? Did my social? Those are more security incidents that happen way beyond physical, and so technology plays a role in every of these spheres of security, both physical security. So when you talk about technology, we're talking about guns, technology. If you think about that, if you have a gun, you can protect yourself. So it does play a role in all of them. And when you start moving to the other aspect of security as well, you really need to make sure that you have the right technology with you to protect yourself against the other party. So it does play a very significant role.
Wow. Thank you very much. You actually trashed out different types of security. Like say the segments of security, like you said, social, emotional, financial. So it's not just about physical security, because a lot of people tend to, like you said, once they hear security, they tend to remember armed men, Sambisa Forest, and all. All right, thank you very much. So, what do you have to say about these roles that technology actually play for young leaders, for young professionals? How do they tend to? Do you think that young professionals of these days tend to adopt technology into, securing themselves, their teams?
Yeah, I think they do. Young people typically are better at adopting technology than older people because they grew up with these, devices. So it's definitely a lot easier for them. But that also opens them up to vulnerabilities as well. So because remember that technology is just a tool.
Yeah.
So even you as a person that is trying to protect yourself with technology is also exposing yourself to those. When you use technology, you're using social media, you're exposing yourself to risk as well. So there are in terms of being able to really find those tools that can protect you. So it depends on the person in question. How much aware are they of some of these tools? How are they using them? I think young people definitely adopt technology, but around this area, I don't think we're paying a lot of attention to how we're protecting ourselves, against some of the bad actors that are also using the same tools that we're using. Because you hear a lot of stories of people that are hacked or killed. A lot of people that went through different traumatic incidents. Some people that were cyberbullied because they brought out some information and exposed it on their socials. There's a lot of incidents of that, and these are what makes some people start to look at technology as being evil, right? And they'll start to look at how to kind of completely cut it off, and like circumvent it completely. But the truth is that that's not the solution. It's just like any other tool, right? A machete is very good for a farmer. Yeah. You could use it to cut down trees. You could use it to plant. You could use it to cut weeds. But the same machete can be used to kill someone. Yeah. So it really depends on how you use it, and then how you use the ones that protect you as an individual.
Interesting. I think from everything you said, it is maybe wise for me to call you. Is it wise for me to call you a professional at this point?
Well, I hope so.
Exactly. All right. So, do you think? So, you actually think that physical security is not enough in the world of today? Like just having like physical security as a leader, do you think that physical security is not enough?
No, I don't think it's enough. I think it's very important, but I think we need to be looking at security as a holistic thing. Yeah, indeed.
Interesting. All right. Thank you very much for that, sir. So, you mentioned emotional security.
Mm-hmm.
So, when it comes to you as a leader of a corporation, what do you think about this emotional security for young professionals? Do they tend to have like, is there a way to like structure, distinguish, like have, is there a way to rate the percentage of your emotional security equals to success?
Mm. So, interesting question. I think that when it comes to emotional security, people tend to misunderstand that a lot, right? You hear a lot, especially from the younger generation, the so-called Gen Zs, right? You hear things like
mental health.
Yes, mental health. I think it's trending right now. And then you hear people say things like, I can't joke with my mental health, and those things are very important. But I think just like any other fad, some of those things are being overemphasized and also misinterpreted in a lot of ways. A professional definitely needs to have a very good mental state of mind, because if you don't have that, you will not be able to function. That's the truth. But also, there is nothing wrong with a little strain. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Yeah. When it becomes a problem is when the person in question is going through whatever is that strain for a very long time. Right? It becomes a chronic stress. So if it's chronic and it lasts for a very long time, then it becomes a problem. But having a little bit of strain from time to time, it's actually good for you as a person. Because human beings, we are trained by most of our, I don't know if you remember, there's this thing about use and disuse. The Darwinian theory of evolution talks about how some part of our bodies as you use them, they develop, and the ones you stop using, they start to dissipate and disappear over time. Which is why it's believed that we don't have tails anymore, right? Because we never use those tails, right? So it shrunk in and disappeared. Some people don't believe in the theory, but I think while there might be some controversies about, evolution, there are some part of it that is true. We've seen, it might not be completely true. I don't know. I'm not an expert in that. But I can tell you that use and disuse is real. If you don't use any part of yourself, after some time, it starts to lose its value. And so when it comes to emotional stability and emotional security, it's important to protect that, right? But you as a person needs to also make sure that you are, allowing yourself to exercise those muscles, say, if I would call it that. Yeah. If you don't allow yourself to go through some stress as a person, then you would never be able to live to your full potential.
Interesting. Wow. So there is emotional security, but there should be like a little strain. It's just to know when it gets too much.
Yes, you need to know what your limit is, and you need to be able to stress yourself and stretch yourself to expand and know and keep growing as a person. If you run away from every single thing that stresses you, then you will never be able to achieve your full potential. That's the truth.
Interesting. Thank you very much for that answer. So we've been talking about security all this while. So let's go to the aspect of leadership, because I'll say that our topic is classified into two.
Okay.
That is leadership and security. So coming to leadership, what do you think about leadership in times of uncertainties, in times of still linking to safety, though, in times of unsafety, being a leader at those times of uncertainties?
I think the life of a leader is one that there's always uncertainty. If you understand the concept of leadership, you understand that a leader is someone that has a vision, right? And then he's able to get a couple of people behind him to accept to go with him on a journey. And then he's looking forward to where he wants to get to. And he says, guys, let's go to this destination. That in itself is uncertainty, because you need to leave where you are to get to a destination. You don't know what you're going to meet along the way. So there's always uncertainty for a leader. But that also presents opportunities as well, right? Because a leader that is heading to a destination needs to have some level of confidence, right? And sometimes it's said to be like madness. Yeah, I've had people say that, right? It's you need to be able to believe that you can get to that destination. When you set out to go, sometimes you don't know what you're going to see on the way.
Sometimes.
Most times. You could tell that, okay, for me to go from here to where I'm going, I'm going to need to get a cab. I'm going to need to stop somewhere to fill the tank and things like that. But you can't say for sure the time that the cab would come. You can't tell if there's going to be a puncture on the tire along the way. You can't tell if the filling station you're thinking of going to would have fuel, right? So a leader is able to have some level of confidence and a level of faith to say, this is my plan to get to this destination. And in spite of all these uncertainties, I need to be able to get up and start moving, right? I think those are the two very interesting things. The vision of where he wants to go, and then the confidence, and which some people call madness, to get up and go even with the uncertainties in front of him. Yeah.
Wow. I'm getting that. But I think there are some people that would rather know what actually they are going to do than having that uncertainty. Once there is that uncertainty, I don't think they will want to move forward with it.
I agree. And the lead, it's not like the leader doesn't know what he's going to do. So he knows he's going there. Maybe he's going there to go and, let's look at what happened in the Bible. Look at the journey of the Israelites, right, to the promised land. That's a very good example of a leader's journey, right? So they knew that there was this promise for them to get to the promised land, and they wanted to go there. They had a plan, right? Um, the purpose for that, the vision they had was that this is their land. They need to go and possess that possession. I think he's even said, go to the promised land and possess your possession. So that was the goal. But it doesn't mean that knowing what you want to do means that you know exactly every single step on how to do it and there's no risk along the way. If you wait for everything to be sure, you will not get up. Right, you will not even be able to get up and move. That's the problem with being 100% certain, and that's one of the reasons why I tell you that emotional intelligence, emotional security is great, but you need to be able to stomach some some stress, right? Because not knowing exactly what tomorrow holds would present some level of uncertainty, right? But if you don't do that, then you will not be able to move forward as a person.
Wow, interesting. So, is there a time in your career, like in your career journey, that security became a priority for you? Like, is there a time in your leadership career that security became a priority?
Yes. So it's always a priority for me. Like I remember writing on I have this whiteboard that I have I always have a whiteboard in my study or wherever I stay to meditate and work. There's always a whiteboard, and I do remember writing on the whiteboard that I need to make sure I attend security. And the security for me has always been beyond just physical. So it's the job of a man to provide security for himself and his family. That's the job of a man. I believe that if you look at, at least in my own culture where I come from, it's a job of a man to provide that security for himself and his family. And that security is beyond physical. I mean, like I said, back in the days, physical is the major threat. Physical security is where the threat comes from. And so a man is supposed to build a house, and use that to protect his family. And then so he erects that. But today it's beyond that. So I remember writing on the wall there to say, I need to provide a physical security for my family, and I need to provide a financial security for my family, and I need to provide spiritual security as well, right? These are the jobs of a man, and these are the jobs of a leader, because a man is really a leader of the family, right? And that translates into leadership as well, like in the workplace as well. So your job as a leader is to provide all of this security for people that you work with within the company and outside as well, as much as you can. So it's always at the center of my mind and working towards how can I do this and what tools can we use to be able to make sure that this works efficiently.
Interesting. So in those times of uncertainties, do you prioritize security over peace of mind or vice versa, peace of mind over security?
No, I think they go together. Yeah, I think peace of mind and security is the same.
Because once you're secure, you have your peace of
mind. Exactly. The higher your security level, the higher your peace of mind. If you have you've deployed some security measures, you start to relax and you start to feel more peace of mind. And the days you start to see that those things are not as efficient, then your peace of mind starts to erode and it starts to affect every aspect of your life.
Yeah, true. All right. Thank you very much, sir. So coming to the financial, because we've been mentioning financial security all along. So why do you think financial security is essential for young professionals? Financial security, because a lot of people think, okay, my money is in the bank. I don't really need to do any other thing apart from putting it in the bank. It's safe, it's secured. Nothing is happening to it there. So.
I think it's very important. Every aspect of security is very important for everyone. The modern man, like I said, needs security in also financial, and these other areas. And if you don't have financial security, you struggle, right? If you lose your money, for instance, and sometimes it's not about losing it, it's also about like even having enough of it. Yeah, because sometimes when we think security means someone coming to take what you have. You will not be secure if you don't have enough of what you need. If you think about that as well, because security is about, if I have financial security, what that means is that I have enough money to take care of my needs. That's what it really means. Yeah. It's not just about someone coming to take the money that you have. Yeah. So financial security is very important for young people. And the truth is that I think a lot of young people get it wrong.
No way.
They get wrong. They get financial security wrong. For a young person, especially if you're just starting up your career, the best way to get financial security is not by looking for more money. And it's not also by you trying to make sure that you use the most secure bank app or things like that. That's not how you actually ensure that you have the best security, financial security. The best way to ensure financial security as a very young person that's just starting his career is by investing in getting good skill. That is the best way to actually get better financial security. Because if you do that, if you learn good skills and invest consistently in learning and becoming better, then what happens is that you are actually depositing into your bank account, in a bank account that nobody can withdraw from or steal. Because the skills you acquire is always with you except you die, right? So there is no better bank to invest in than that particular investment in yourself. Exactly. Acquire knowledge. That knowledge that you acquire when you learn a skill, when you pick up certain skills that are good for you, would help you to get a better job, right? Down the line, that now gives you more money, right? Yeah. Which is, the financial security that you have. But if what you are chasing is more around going to find the best, because it has happened to me. In fact, I was discussing this with someone, I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday. We're talking, and it was on Wednesday. We're talking and we're reflecting, and I was trying to explain to the guy about my own trajectory as a person. Starting up, I already told you my life story of how I started. I was very passionate about technology. I wanted to learn it, and I felt like a quack to a large extent because I started from civil engineering, right? So a lot of my drive was really around how can I get this knowledge? How can I get so good in this technology so that I can get the impact that I want to get? And so when my mates left school, they were busy. Some of them were going to banks and looking for some of these, well-paying jobs. Yeah. I wasn't interested in that, right? I was looking more for where is the technology company where I'm going to learn the skill that I want to learn. And so when I look back today at some of them that went in that direction, I see a big difference. Because they were more, at that time, they were busy chasing money, right? Yes. They were busy chasing the money and trying to get the money, but then they weren't looking at where they were going to get more skill. So that's a major problem a lot of young people have. So the best way, I think, to get better financial security as a young person is really to invest on knowledge and skills, right? And then grow that skill. That will be the best way that you're investing in your financial security.
Interesting. So financial security is not all about safeguarding your money and all. It's about getting more. Of course, from what you said, is ways that getting more, and it's all about having more. It's not about chasing. Chasing.
I think it's more like a spectrum if you think about it, right? So it depends on how your own satiety, right? If you ask Dangote today, he might tell you he's financially insecure. That's the truth, right? He might tell you that, look, I don't have enough money. I think I need more money, right? And he might tell you he's insecure. But the truth is that, like I said, it's a spectrum. Maybe I can chip in here a little bit before you move to the next question. Yeah, sure. I know the bulk of your audience is young people, right? And you're talking about how will young people be financially secure. But I think it might be good to also chip in that as you move down the line, and you start getting that money, there are also certain things that you need to do to keep being financially secure. Or to keep increasing that financial security. So I mentioned, investing on your skills, but investing on your skill is good. Learning about how to do things, those skills that you can exchange for money.
Yeah.
It's very good. But as you start to make that money, you need to make sure that the money you are receiving is also being used properly, right? So you have budgets, and then you work based on your budget. But beyond that as well, you do certain things that also protect you. So you would get health insurance, for instance, right? When you get health insurance, you are actually like managing your money. So if you're working in a place, you could get it from your employer. But even if you are not, if you are someone that is self-employed, you should get health insurance, because even though you pay about amount of money and you might not get sick at all, the day you get sick, you can completely, lose all your savings because you were sick. So that's those kind of things. Health insurance. Those insurance instruments, like if you have a car, have like a car insurance, and get some of those tools to help you. Those things are things that provide financial security, because it gives you some level of confidence to say, okay, this is what I have, and this is protected.
Yeah. So guys, buy a car and buy car insurance.
Very important.
It's not all about buying cars. Make sure you have insurance for them so you don't go burn out your money and everything. Thank you very much, Mr. Ifeanyi, for it has been so insightful, very wonderful. I am learning a lot. I don't know about you guys, our viewers, if you are learning as much as I am, because I am for real. So one more question. So how do shortcuts today, because a lot of young professionals upcoming professionals, or I don't want to say wanna be professionals, they tend to like uh switch more to fast outcomes, like fast, I don't want to say fast money, but they want fast success. So what would you advise them as a professional yourself that will help them not go through that route and remain safe?
So shortcuts is always longer. That's the truth. Yeah, it's if you try to cut through the shortcut, most of the time you end up spending more time. I think there's an adage that says more haste, less speed.
Yeah.
Right? So most of the time you really need to, dig in and do the right thing. Trying to cut corners would end up hurting you down the line. You know how you know? What is the easiest way to cut corner? Or maybe not the easiest way, but what's the thing that cuts the corner the most?
Well,
lottery. Right? If you win a lottery, you've cut corners.
Yeah.
Right? You've definitely cut corner. It's not lifetime. If you go check the history of people that actually won lottery, they lose that money in less than 2 years. I'm talking about people that win millions of dollars in lottery. They lose the money almost immediately after. Why? The reason for that is that wealth is not about the money in your bank account. Most of the time is the disciplines that you get while making that money that sustains the money. So if somebody just comes and dumps a bag of money on your bank account today, you wouldn't know what to do with it. You might think you know what to do with it, but you won't. You will waste that money and you go back to square one immediately, because it's a discipline and the process of getting that money, learning how to manage it over time is what sustains wealth. So trying to cut corners doesn't help you. Even if whatever system that is like lottery, for instance, would actually give you the money, it's not going to help you, because you would go back to square one except you've done the lessons that you're supposed to learn. Yeah. So it's like school, right? There are lessons we learn every day in life, right? And if you don't learn it, you're going to repeat that class. That's the way it works.
Yeah. there's also this saying that because you didn't work for it, it tends to like you tend to spend it anyhow.
Yes. And it's sometimes it's not just as easy as the way you just said it. It's actually that you don't even know how to handle it. You're not trained to manage that kind of money. So don't do shortcut. Shortcut doesn't help. Go through the process, learn what you need to learn, and go through trust the process.
Trust the process.
Yes.
Yeah. Small.
That's the sure way.
Right. Thank you very much, sir. It has been a wonderful session with you today. I have learned a lot once again, and I hope you, our wonderful viewers, that these contents we are curating over here are actually serving its purpose by, satisfying your viewing pleasures, and that you are learning a lot as well. Thank you very much, Mr. Ifeanyi. And just to wrap it up, what advice do you have for these young professionals, these young leaders we are actually talking to today? From your, as a professional yourself, what would you advise them?
I would say they should keep walking and trust the process. I know right now Nigeria is difficult, no doubt. It's not easy. There's a lot of economy is bad, but even when it is most difficult, the same thing still holds. Reach in within yourself and keep doing what you're doing. Do not give up. Put in the work, keep trusting the process, and I'll guarantee you one day you come out at the end successful. There's some statement around gold. I'm trying to remember that adage about no, this one is about that it's only the test of fire that makes fine gold. That's what I was looking for. So if you really want to be gold, right, then you need to be able to go through the fire. The fire will refine you, it won't kill you. I know it's not easy, but it's doable. Let's keep grinding. Let's keep cracking.
Let's keep grinding. Let's keep cracking. Thank you very much, Mr. Ifeanyi, for that. Thank you very much, our amazing viewers. Guys, without you guys, I can't stop thanking you guys. Without you guys, we won't be here. Thank you very much for joining us on this episode of Stone Circle Podcast, all about safety and preaching peace of mind. Thank you very much, Mr. Ifeanyi, once again for joining us on the studio today. We've actually learned a lot, and guys, we'll be looking forward to hearing more of him as time goes on. We never can tell. Will you be gracing us with your presence?
I'll be glad. It's really a pleasure being here. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. Thank you very much. And with that, we have come to the end of this episode. Please look forward to the next episode, the fifth episode of Stone Circle Podcast. You might not know who you may be seeing on that episode, so stay tuned. And if you have anything you would like to share with us for today's topic, please kindly click on the link below and share your story with us. Tell us. And once you register with us, we are assuring you daily tips or frequent tips on how to stay safe as a professional, as a leader, on how to stay safe. Thank you very much for joining us, everyone, and see you next week on another episode of Stone Circle Podcast. Bye.